So this is the 328 GTS, Ferrari 328 GTS. That's a 1989 model. Ferrari had the origins of this car was the 308, which was like basically manufactured, came out of the Ferrari factories from 1975 to 1985. This is a GTS model. That means the roof comes off. Of the car is like if you come to the side. Oh, this is like more streamlined. You can see this nice ducts that goes as an air intake for cooling purposes. They have that tiny little switch which opens the door of the car. These two grills that they have on either side of the car, you have to use a key, and that reveals the fuel tank here, and of course a window. So, same thing, use a key, open up, and you have nothing, just a window. So they also gave remodified the back of the car with the 4 exhausts, a spoiler to direct the air, and of course all these cooling vents. A 5-spoke alloy, Ferrari wheels. You can notice a slight convexity here. Let's have a look at the engine bay. So, engine bay, you open that way from a latch. You've got your classic mid-mounted transverse V8s. So just behind the engine bay, there's this also compartment that you unzip, and of course reveals where you can put your tools, you can put your baggage or whatever. If you want to look in the hood, again there's another latch, similar but up front, and you pull it, and that reveals place for the spare tire, and of course all these cooling fans. That we try and remove the rooftop. 2 latches from here, just like that. Has a nice space. Easy entry. I mean, there's a very narrow sill. Then they've got the flyway handbrakes, which means you can apply the handbrakes and then the handbrake will just go down. Your classic gated 5-speed manual transmission. First gear being basically what they call the dog leg gear, that's the first gear. It goes down. The way that Ferrari did it is that for the reverse, so you don't accidentally put it into reverse, you have to kind of push the lever down and to engage the reverse gear. They've changed the console from the 308. All this is for the air conditioning. This is an interesting one, which you press, and then the aerial comes out for the radio transmission. Interesting thing also is the headlights. Cassette recorder, of course, we can always find a cassette just to keep things dated. And of course, no Ferrari is complete without the ashtray. Okay, so having reviewed this car a little bit, how about we take it for a spin? Switch on the engine. First gear, really heavy steering wheel. There's no power steering, there's no traction control. Actually relatively easy to drive. You gotta remember, this car is like, what, almost 36, 37 years old now. Still pretty drivable. Like I said, the steering wheel is heavy, the clutch is heavy. But once the car starts going, everything kind of lightens up. It's a 5-speed manual. So this car basically is the classic Ferrari. Anybody that sees this car on the road knows it's a Ferrari. I mean, if you're looking for that vintage classic Ferrari look, this is what you get. This car started with 308 in almost 77 to 1985, and then in 1985 they changed the whole thing. They changed the aesthetics of the car. They did almost 1,000 changes from the 308 to the 328, including, of course, suspension system, the braking system. They increased power in the powertrain, and they gave it a new kind of look. Almost 20,000 cars have been made, and that was like a highest run of Ferrari at the time. Out of those 20,000, 80% were GTS, which is a convertible model. Turns really nicely, beautiful. Like I said, the power steering kind of lightens up when you drive the car. I mean, this power steering is basically the same technology as the 28 GTO, so that was like an upgrade for this car. The other thing with this car is any cars that came out, like I said, the GTS, the 328 GTS model came from 1985 to 1989. I think it's from 1988 onwards they included the anti-braking lock brake system, the ABS, and that also changed the configuration on the wheels. So it's like almost signaling this transfer between the analog error and, yeah, if you can call it the digital error. This is a 328, so it's like a 3.2 liter engine with displacement with the rear wheel drive. It spits out like almost 270 horsepower, around 230 feet of torque. The maximum range for this, like speed-wise, is like almost like 260 or 263 kilometers per hour. From 0 to 60, literally 6.4 seconds. Not too fast, but pretty fast for those days, Jenny. Down a gear, and see. Still pretty fast. But I respect the speeding limits here. But that was nice. I mean, it's really steady on the ground. Beautiful. I mean, this is it. You know, this is the classic Ferrari experience. Coming to the end of this review, I mean, what do I think about this car? Okay, this is a classic Ferrari. It's a 328 GTS. I mean, as far as I can remember, that's the vision of Ferrari that I had in mind. If you're thinking of getting into purchasing a classic Ferrari, this would be the ideal car to start with. Relatively cheap to maintain. Gives you that classic analog Ferrari feel. This car has been designed by Pininfarina. Handling is relatively good. I mean, I know it's really heavy when the car starts going. Once it's on the road, it's quite fast. This car goes up to 260 kilometers an hour and does that 0 to 60 in like 6.4 seconds. So it's not a slow car, especially for that time. So you can have a lot of fun with this car, cheap to maintain, and it still turns heads.